The year was 1773. The American colonies, under British rule, were growing restless. The colonists, proud and hard-working, yearned for more freedom. They desired a say in their own governance. Tensions simmered, fueled by a series of taxes imposed by the British Parliament. These taxes, the colonists argued, were unjust. They were being taxed without fair representation in Parliament. Among these taxes was the Tea Act of 1773. This act, while seemingly insignificant, would become the catalyst for a revolution. The act aimed to bail out the struggling East India Company by granting it a monopoly on tea sales in the colonies. This meant that colonists could only buy tea from the East India Company, even if cheaper options existed. The colonists saw this as a blatant attempt to control their economy and limit their freedom of choice. The Tea Act was not just about tea, it was about principle. The colonists had long argued for representation in Parliament. They believed that if they were to be taxed, they deserved a voice in how those taxes were levied. The cry of "no taxation without representation" echoed throughout the colonies. The colonists felt ignored and marginalized. The British government, however, remained indifferent to their pleas. In Boston, the epicenter of colonial resistance, the situation grew increasingly tense. The Sons of Liberty, a secret society dedicated to fighting British tyranny, began to organize. Led by figures like Samuel Adams and Paul Revere, they rallied the colonists against the Tea Act. Meetings were held, pamphlets were distributed, and the spirit of defiance spread like wildfire. On a cold December night, the simmering tensions finally boiled over. As 3 British ships laden with tea sat in Boston Harbor, a group of colonists disguised as Native Americans boarded the vessels. They moved swiftly and silently, their faces hidden beneath war paint. With determination in their hearts, they dumped 342 chests of tea into the icy waters. This act of defiance, later known as the Boston Tea Party, sent shockwaves throughout the colonies and across the Atlantic. It was a clear message to the British Crown. The colonists would not be bullied. The Boston Tea Party was not a riot, it was a calculated act of protest. The Sons of Liberty, meticulous in their planning, ensured no one was harmed and no other property was damaged.